Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Are you ready? I'm saying, are you ready?
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello again. I'm back. Miss me? Well, it has been over an hour, so hopefully you have. Third show today. I tell you, this morning doing the live, covering the live draw for the Europa League. If I ever suggest that I'm doing one of those draws again, please somebody come along and drag me off in a white van in a straitjacket. I mean, it was the most. I mean, I don't know how they managed to drag it out the way they do, but it was made. What do you think of the group? This is Leicester Till I Die. Good evening. We're on Facebook, Leicester Till I Die, the group, Twitter at LTID, and YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. We are about 42 subscriptions off the 1,000 mark on YouTube. So please tweak my buttons, pull my knobs, give me a subscribe on YouTube. I would be forever grateful. We've got a guest along with us this evening. We'll bring him in. But we'll say tonight we're going to be looking at the Europa League draw. And we're joined by Ant from Beyond the 90. Good evening, Ant.
Evening, Chris. Thank you for having me on. And as you say, Europa League draw. I could not believe how long they dragged that out for, if I'm honest. I was checking my notifications on my phone whilst I was at work, which I probably shouldn't say after I've retweeted this. My boss is probably watching this. But,
he knows. Yeah,
but Jesus Christ. They long it out, don't they?
And to be honest with you, it wasn't as bad as far as I remember, last year's, because they only had the one award. But I was on my own. I thought I can handle this on my own. You know, I can do this stream for people. My God, yeah, pulling teeth would have been nicer, and they do know how to draw it out. But thanks for doing this. Like I say, Ant from Beyond the 90, give a shout out to your channels because you're a fellow Leicester YouTuber. So how can people find you?
So my own personal channel is Ant's Leicester Fan Channel. I should be getting more active on that over the next few weeks, as over the last couple of weeks I've had like an absolutely insanely busy week with loads and loads of stuff going on, but should be back to putting regular content on my main channel, Ant's Leicester Fan Channel, and then Beyond the 90 as well, which is a group channel I run with Neil, James Harlow, and loads of great guys over there. So check both of those out.
Link to the Beyond the 90 is in the description below on YouTube. got to look to the group. It's all done now. We'll start off because obviously we've got another English team in there, which is West Ham. So we were hopefully going to have a West Ham fan on tonight, but he has got daughter problems, I think. So he has gone off to sort that out. If you're watching this on Catch Up Gatesy, good luck, mate. Hope you sorted it out. But briefly, because I'd done this, so I might as well use it. West Ham had what I would call probably a Leicester City draw there. Not bad for them at all in Group H.
No, you've got to look at Genk as probably a difficult-ish game. Obviously, Dynamo as well, but you'd expect them to top that group.
I would be very surprised looking, and I did promise I wouldn't mention it, but looking at the way that they played against us the other week, if they do that, I just wonder with West Ham though, they haven't got the biggest of squads, so when they get to play in 2 games a week with a couple of injuries, maybe tiredness, they may actually struggle.
I think with West Ham, it's one injury they can't get is Antonio, not just because of how effective he is, but they've literally got no other strikers. So if Antonio gets injured, and I really like him as a player, even after Monday night, but I think he's an absolutely brilliant player, huge handful. But his injury record is horrendous, and it looks like it's just waiting for a problem there. So I'm very unsure why West Ham haven't reinvested in another striker. Obviously, it would have been good to have had the West Ham fan on to ask him, but it just looks like it's a disaster waiting to happen because they've started well, but like we saw last year how our squad's probably bigger than ours and it affected us. So I don't know. It just seems like they don't look prepared for it.
They would say, I was on a couple of channels pre and post match with the West Ham game, and they were saying exactly the same. They are worried about Antonio because he is an injury waiting to happen, although the latest rumours are that they're going to get some money because apparently Arsenal have put in a transfer bid for Antonio's cardboard cutout for 40 million. So whether that's true or not, you'll have to ask an Arsenal fan. But so I think looking at that though, it's a sort of group. We've like I was talking about before we came live. This is our 3rd European adventure within the last sort of 6 or so years, and both times we've been quite lucky with the group draws. And I think West Ham, I would be very surprised, like I say, if they didn't get out of that group. But what about our group, Ant? I look at this and West Ham was kind of saying like, you've got a difficult group. I've seen a couple of Leicester fans going, it's the group of death. It's not that bad, is it?
Napoli's the big one for me. Napoli, they're one of like the European sort of, I don't want to say mega clubs, but they're a huge club in Europe, huge history in Europe and obviously in Italy. But they're not what they once were. That's the thing. Like they've got all the history and all of obviously the trophies and the European success that they've had in the past, but they are not the side that they once were. And I don't see, particularly at King Power, why we can't beat them. But that's the thing is, most of these teams that we're going to come up against, particularly for the next few years, if we're competing in Europe, most of these teams are going to have more European experience than us. Even when you look at the other 2 teams like Moscow and Legia Warsaw, they've both been in Europe countless times compared to us. So it's just something that we've sort of almost got to get over.
It is. And I say, when you look at these clubs, if they were all that these days, they'd be in the Champions League. They wouldn't be in the Europa League with us.
No, and I think with Napoli, they've got a lot of very good players. But they've also got an aging squad that I reckon it'll be an incredibly difficult game, don't get me wrong. But they're not this like unbeatable force that you see some like Leicester fans making out that they are.
They're not the Lazio that had Maradona all those years ago.
No, not quite that. They have got some good players though with Insigne, Koulibaly, and we've got decent players across the pitch, as you would expect a side like Napoli to have. But at the same time, as you say, if they were a top side, they'll be in the Champions League.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I was looking at Napoli. You said they were very, very similar to us. You were saying that they just missed out on qualifying for the Champions League.
Yeah, so I'm not going to claim to be some like Italian football expert. This is just coming from what I saw just before we came live. But they'd been basically in the driving seat to finish in Champions League football and just dropped out. So that sounds very, very familiar. So yeah, it will be two close games. I think the one thing that does worry me is going to Italy. Like, I think that would be a brilliant trip for anyone going, but how our players will handle that, and it'll be one of the most intense atmospheres a lot of our players have experienced before. Same as going to Poland as well. That'll be a completely new experience for a lot of these players, because obviously we went to Greece and a lot of difficult grounds last year, but empty stadiums. It doesn't have the same sort of atmosphere and intimidation about it. But Warsaw, that's the atmospheres that they get there and how intense and how hostile they make it that's going to be difficult. And same with Napoli as well.
I mean, I'm just looking here at the league, and it's very difficult to see because the Italians have only just started their season, pretty much like ourselves. But Napoli have basically played 1-1-1, so you got 100% record at the moment. But I was just looking at some of their team and their history, and like when that came out, and it was I mean, I completely did not get one team right that I thought we might get. I was completely off the ball. But it is the history they've got, but we've got to look back past that, haven't we?
Yeah, like obviously they're a massively historic club, a huge club. But if we want to be going, the thing that I've said, if like a lot of people have talked about going the whole way in the Europa League, if we're going to do that, we're going to have to beat these clubs at some point. So if we're going to do it, why not do it in the group stage?
Yes. Having said that, just looking now, they've only actually won Serie A twice. I thought they'd have won it a lot more than that. They've won the Coppa Italia, and again, I'm not knowledgeable. I am totally reading this. I don't know this, but they've won the Coppa Italia 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 times, and the Super Coppa 4 times, and Serie B once. But yeah, I thought that they'd won the Serie A title more than twice.
Yeah, so did I. But then again, you've got sort of Italian football. Something that I've noticed about it, I guess you could say similar to English, is that teams go through periods of domination. Obviously, you've had Juventus, who've had a long period being the best team. Obviously, Inter won it last year, but then you had before that, you had obviously the AC Milan had their period of domination, and then you go before that into Milan. So it always seems like it goes through long periods of like domination of one club. So I don't know. I'm talking as if I'm some Italian football expert. I'm really not. I watch the highlights on YouTube, and that's about it.
I know, but it sounds good. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. But I think we've said a good evening to Rich Sports. By the way, thanks for joining us, Rich, and also the Blue Podcast as well. Thanks for joining us. They are, I think we've sort of said, because obviously they were drawn out of Bowl 1, as they say, but they're the big rivals in this group. If we beat Lazio at home and possibly get a draw away, we're through. I would. Well, you watch famous last words, but you would think we would be through.
Yeah, the thing is, I shouldn't be as worried about Legia Warsaw as I am, but I can just see Kaputska coming back and scoring against us. I don't know why. It's whenever we play like a club with a former player, I always just expect them to score against us.
They do. That's the thing. That this is Leicester. They always do. Or any player that's not scored for like 2 seasons and 30 games, they always sort of like playing Leicester. And I mean, let's be honest with you. We saw last season with Zoya Luhansk. We are there to be beaten, but thankfully they're not in it this year. But they did manage already to beat us last year. Spartak Moscow, that's going to be interesting if we get to travel, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing is, they're another one that they've got a lot more European experience than we do. They've been Champions League multiple times, Europa League multiple times. So for them, they would love to beat a Premier League opposition, and that's the thing. A lot of these clubs, like, even though we're not like one of the big prestigious like Premier League clubs,
Yes.
they still beating a Premier League club for a lot of these teams is like a big scalp to take.
Yes, yes. And again, I'm just looking since sort of 2010 as an example, they are in the Champions League 4 or 5 times. You know, again, we shouldn't take them lightly. And as an away game, you know, I think that could be the potential banana skin for us.
Yeah, the thing is, all three of these teams, well, I'd say Napoli in themselves, they've got their own quality, but Sparta Moscow and Legia Warsaw, they've both got the potential to upset us, particularly at their ground. So you can't take them lightly, because I believe Sparta Moscow are the champions of Russia, if I am correct with that. And then Legia Warsaw, they're one of the best teams in Poland. So they'll be going into these games to win them, not just to make up the numbers.
They finished second, but I'll give you that wasn't bad. You were close. You were closer than I would have been. I'm going to be honest with you. You may not be
in the Champions League.
Yeah, but having said that, you obviously, you know, not an Italian expert, but you know your Russian football. I have to have a look. I have to read it off the screen to see where they've come. Again, I mean, they've played 6 games, Russia. They're sort of up and running with their league, and Spartak Moscow are not doing very well, to be honest with you. They're down in 10th at the moment. Played 6, won 2, drawn 1, lost 3. They've only scored 5, but they've only conceded 6. So, yeah, they're mid-table. So, you know...
That concerns me. I'd rather them be top of the league and absolutely flying, because it would typically Leicester, but not to have won in about 3-4 weeks, play Leicester, win, and then go back to losing in their domestic league.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally, Warsaw over in Poland there. You would think, look, just on the draw, that this would be possibly the whipping boys, but we can't take them lightly, like you said, can we?
No, the thing is, I don't think there'll be one team. I say this, and now it probably will happen, but I don't think there's going to be one team that's going to be like the whipping boys, so to speak. I think most of the games will be fairly tight and fairly competitive.
And just looking here at their sort of history, they 15 titles they've got. Won it. They did actually win it last season, but I think they must have sort of lost out on the qualifying. But I mean, overall, would you have preferred, say, West Ham's group, or is it exciting? I mean, at some point we've got to play these teams, haven't we?
Yes, I'd say it's a bit exciting, because when you look at our Europa League campaign last time, it was a bit underwhelming. We didn't really play anyone apart that were sort of that exciting and that decent. We played, probably Braga was the best team we played. The fact that we've drawn one of like the Europeans, like biggest clubs in Europe, I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I'm hoping that like the group stages and the atmosphere at home is going to be incredible. Obviously, it was during the Champions League. I'm hoping that we can recreate that in the Europa League, but I don't. It's hard to say whether the fans will see it that way or not. But I really hope that it's. I
think we're going to find out next week what the sort of travelling situation is. I think they'll probably do it country by country as to who can come in and where we can go. We're joined by Simon from Premium Hotspur TV. Evening, Chris, and your panel. And Spurs had the biggest draw of our history today, the old Europa Conference League. Whatever we say about the Europa League, we could be in the Conference League. Simon, who did you get? And I've got to be honest with you, Simon, you were lucky to get through there after your first leg. I was all respect you, mate, but it would have been funny if you'd have got knocked out. But I don't know if you saw that at all, Anne. But I think it was 2-0 the other night, wasn't it?
Yeah, I saw the first leg. They lost to some team in Portugal that I'd never heard of. And then after all summer of Spurs fans saying, "Oh, we can't forgive Harry Kane easily if he does come back," all of a sudden singing he's one of our own as soon as he scored. You can just predict it.
Yeah, that's football fans. We are a fickle lot, aren't we? Here, So yeah, this is that is our group then. So and at some point, like I said earlier, Ant, we had a very favourable Champions League draw. We had a very favourable Europa League draw last season. This does excite me more, and I think the fact that I'm looking at this thinking we might not get out of this is what we want. We don't want to, like you said last season, it was all a bit sort of like meh, we should easily get out of this group, and we did, and it's nice to win. But you want to be playing these teams that you've heard of.
Yes. It's almost what I'd call a Champions. It's close to a Champions League group. It's more Champions League standard group than like a typical Europa League standard group. Because like when you look at the Europa League standard groups over the last few years, you'll probably get one half decent team and then two teams that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like you said, and looking at this, it's. I mean, they all have recently were Champions League teams, but I mean we're playing teams. We've heard of them all. We've heard of Spartak Moscow. We've heard of Legia Warsaw. Who the hell was Zoya Luhansk? You know what I mean? It's like some of these teams, and some of them I couldn't even pronounce. So that Midtjylland or whatever it was, I couldn't even pronounce them. So I'm glad we've not got them. But overall, and I suppose if we are, those of you that are going on the European tour, and if we're allowed to go on the European tour, Italy's going to be nice for you. Moscow, I'm not so sure about, but we had the World Cup, and Warsaw, Poland depends on what sort of weather greets you when you get there, I guess. But looking at that, I'm going to say this now. I'm not confident of going through, but if we go through, we will have deserved to. And I think, Brendan's won the FA Cup with us. He's won the Community Shield, or as I like to call it, the English Super Cup. He's never done particularly well in Europe, even with Liverpool. That's one thing that he wants to prove, isn't it, this season?
Yeah, and I think the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't top this group, but I'd be very surprised and disappointed if we didn't go through, because even though as much as we said there's strength in these oppositions, we should be going at least second in this group. But Brendan Rodgers has struggled in Europe because he didn't have the squad depth with us, and Liverpool was very similar. His squad wasn't the biggest there. He's brought in players to address that in terms of Samare. Now he's got Dewsbury Hall back, Daka as an option. Obviously, we've got Bertrand who's come in, which just really bolsters that squad. Vestergaard as well. So I don't think that we can use the squad depth excuse that was used last year, but I do think it was a genuine reason, particularly with the injuries as well. But I think we've addressed the problem this year.
Well, I mean, you've got to look at last season, and we were dragging Christian Fuchs out of semi-retirement, and he played more games last season. I think he played in the previous 3 or 4 put together. But let's just have a quick look at the other groups, because there's some big names in the competition this year. And if you look at Group A there, Group A, sorry. You got Lyon from France, Rangers, Sparta Prague, and Brøndby. Can you see Rangers getting out of that?
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if they do. And under Gerrard, they've been a complete different team. And last year they had a real good run in the Europa League. So yeah, I can see them doing well. I'd like an away day to Ibrox, so that would be brilliant.
That would be an away day to Ibrox or an away day to Parkhead. Which would you prefer?
Oh, I'll say Ibrox, but I don't know. I'll be happy with either.
Yeah, I know there's something about just going to Celtic and beating them again, But yeah, I think looking at that one, obviously, I think Lyon. Obviously they were the top, seed 1 in that group. So you would hope that or think that they would go through. Rangers. I don't know, something about Scottish football. I do like to see them struggle, but I've just lost all our Scottish viewers now. Group B, Monaco, Eindhoven, Real Sociedad, and Sturm Graz from Austria.
That's going to be a competitive group between Real Sociedad, PSV, and Monaco. But all three of those teams will probably be looking to top the group, so that'll be an interesting group. But then, PSV are a club that I think are going to do really well. Obviously, they were unlucky not to get through to the Champions League, so I think they're going to be one of the teams to watch in the Europa League.
Yeah, almost I would say more the group of death than what people are calling ours. But C obviously is our group. Then D, Olympiacos, Eintracht Frankfurt, Fenerbahce, and Antwerp. Yeah, not the most exciting of groups for me.
No, I'd still love to go to Frankfurt though. Germany's the one country, and people who watch my channel will get sick to death of me saying this. I would love a trip to Germany watching Leicester. There's something about Germany and like German football, but I just absolutely love.
So you're really hoping that we go through the Europa League for your holiday plans?
Sounds good, to be fair. It does sound good.
You take it, wouldn't you? You'd take it. Group E, we're saying about big names: Lazio, Lokomotiv Moscow, Marseille, Galatasaray. They were all Champions League standard clubs, quite recently.
Yeah, and that's everyone's calling our group the group of death. That is the group of death.
It is, yeah.
Some serious talent in that group. So the thing is, I think Lazio and Marseille are probably the favourites to go through, but Galatasaray and Moscow will be no pushovers.
Well, at the home games, I think you just want to get in. It's like our equivalent to going to Millwall, really, isn't it? And we know we've got that coming up, And then Group F, obviously our old friends Braga, Red Star there from Serbia. I'm glad we're not in this group because I struggle pronouncing them. Ludogorets from Bulgaria and Midtjylland from Denmark. I don't know if my pronunciation's any good there.
I'll let you go for that because I haven't got a clue.
Coward. But yeah, again, that's one of those sort of groups. It doesn't excite me like Group E does. I've got to be honest with you. I think Group E for me is Group E and possibly B are the groups I'm really excited to sort of watch. Then go on to Group G. You got Leverkusen, our old friends up at Parkhead there, Celtic, Real Betis, and the other Turkish side. Oh, here we go. Fenerbahce. Thank you. You say you can do it.
No, that's another competitive group, to be fair, with Bayer Leverkusen, a decent side. Celtic obviously probably won't get through the group again. Real Betis, tidy side, and then Fenerbahce again, another decent side. So that's another interesting group.
Yeah, and then finally we touched on it earlier. West Ham's group of Dinamo from Croatia, Genk from Belgium, and Rapid Vienna from Austria. You kind of see, as we said before, West Ham should get, if they stay injury free, should probably get out of that group.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. I appear we must have missed someone because the way Arsenal fans have gone on, they must be on here somewhere.
Hang on. Let me just have a look at Group Z. I'll just see if they're on there. I don't get with the likes of Arsenal, and I did ask an Arsenal fan this the other day. I had her on my show. Is why Arsenal fan and Tottenham don't want to be in the Conference League, the Europa Conference League. If Leicester had qualified for the Europa Conference League, would you not want to be in it?
Probably not, if I'm completely honest. It just
really.
I don't know. It just looks a bit tin pot, doesn't it? Really, it's just another way of UEFA making another competitions even further down. I like the Champions League and Europa League sort of layout. The Conference League just seems like how much more can we milk out of it and how much more money we can make. But the thing is, for Tottenham, now that they're in it and that's embarrassing enough, they've got to go and win it. Like, it'll be even more embarrassing if they're in it and then get knocked out to someone that we've never heard of.
That is they have to sort of decide the policy. Do they take it seriously, or do they use it as like Arsenal used to in the Carling Cup? You know, put the kids in, if you like. But see, to me, it's still a European competition. It's still being played on Thursday, so it's not like it's people don't like the Europa League over the Champions League because it's a day later. So chances are that, like ourselves, they'll have the games that are sort of Sunday and Monday. But I'm surprised. I would take it because it's Europe. So, but maybe it's because I'm older and I remember the more of the bad days. James said, "Evening, Chris. Tough group for you guys, but should be interesting to watch. Hopefully so." James, Everton fan, thanks for coming in. Premier Hotspur TV. We did ask earlier who they'd got: Reims, Vitesse, and Miura. Who the hell are Miura? But yes, we were just saying that. Simon, tell us, are you pleased, if you're still with us, are you pleased to be in the I can't get my teeth in, the UEFA Europa Conference League? That's why I really don't like it. It's such a mouthful. But I think it's because it's called conference. I think that's what what puts people off, maybe. I think conference, we think of like the fifth tier, don't we?
Have you seen the trophy for it? It reminds me of what the old joke of, can you copy my homework, but make sure it's not the same. It literally just looks exactly like the Europa League trophy. It just I don't know. It just seems such a knockoff kind of like half-assed tournament, if I'm honest, which is why I'm not that bothered about it. But similar to a lot of Tottenham fans that I've talked of, if Leicester were in it, I'd want us to take it seriously and go the whole way. It'll be one of those that, like the Community Shield, I said, don't care about. But if we win it, it's the biggest trophy going.
Exactly, yeah. And if we'd have lost, it would have been a meaningless pre-season friendly. I still say it is the English Super Cup because the FA Cup winners play the Premier League winners, and in Spain that's the Super Cup. So for me, this is the English Super Cup. But I think you say there's some juicy groups in there, like you say, that I think, like you say, Group E is going to be interesting, and B and D as well. But you like G, don't you, with the Celtic, Leverkusen, Betis, and the other Turkish team?
Oh, go on, don't be boring. Give it a go.
I'll give it a go if you give FC
Michelin tat. There we go.
Oh, show off. I'm going to go for Oh, see, I'm not even looking at the English spelling here. I'm looking at the Turkish spelling. No, I'm not. I literally can't say it. Not that I don't want to. I just can't. Which now means if we qualify, we're going to get them.
I hope so. It would be entertaining for everyone else if we do.
Thank you, mate. I thought you were nice, but maybe not. Simon says, no way did I want us in this Tin Pot Cup, but it's a trophy and we haven't won one since 2008, so well overdue one. Well, you must have some space in your trophy cabinet, Simon, so that can at least take that one, But and I think I don't like the fact that teams from the Champions League that don't sort of qualify for the next round drop into the Europa League. I think it's completely wrong. If you're out the Champions League, you should be out. And the fact that Man United could have won the Europa League because they were Champions League failures, I think is totally wrong. But I do believe that if you finish third in these groups, that we drop into the Conference League.
Could do. I'm not 100% sure. But again, it's all about, I hate always going back to it, but it's about money, because if you have teams like bigger teams that drop out of the Champions League, it then adds more value to the Europa League in terms of broadcasting and.
Oh, of course, yes.
Which, like, it's a shame that everything is orientated around money, but like it would be naive to say that it's in the spirit of a competition, which it's not. But I don't agree with it, but I know why it's there.
I'm just trying to look here. There's another option, which if you finish, that's in the UEFA Champions League. How do you qualify? I can't. I think I've read it somewhere, but like I say, I could be wrong. But like you say, I'm just looking at the trophy here, and yeah, it's kind of a Europa League rip-off, isn't it?
It is literally. Can I copy your homework?
Yes. Before the dogs chewed it. I can't just see. I can't see, but I thought I'd read it somewhere. I thought I had read it somewhere. If anybody that's watching knows, please let me know. James says here, I'd take both the League Cup and the FA Cup this season. 1995 was the last time we won anything. I'm 23 and never seen any silverware at all.
Can't relate.
Oh, boom! Well, last I was thinking of something to say, you came out of it. Dugout Football Channel. Yeah, Liverpool, that's a tough group. Who did Liverpool get in the Champions League? Again, I'm not, being sarcastic. I don't know who you got because, believe it or not, I didn't watch the Champions League draw. Watching the Europa League draw was bad enough.
Apparently, the Champions League one was even more dragged out than the Europa League one, which that takes some doing.
Oh, it does. It does. I started, like I said, I started to watch it, and I started 15 minutes before, but it was like over half an hour before we actually got round to a draw. But thanks very much, Doug, for that. Cheers. I'm going to leave you with this thought, and this might be of interesting, but did you know, I think it was 25 years ago today, and I'm mentioning this for a reason, it's quite funny, but Steve Walsh popped up in the 6th minute of injury time to snatch a 3-3 draw against Arsenal at Filbert Street and spark a confrontation with Ian Wright. I remember that game. That's how old I am. I don't know if you probably weren't around then, Ant. It was an amazing game under Martin O'Neill. And the funny thing was that Steve Walsh here says, Leicester City legend Steve Walsh says he's always asked about this by City fans. I went on last season on a chat with Matt Elliott, Jerry Taggart, and Steve Walsh, and my question was for Steve Walsh, and it was, would he have hit Ian Wright at the end of that game? So yes, I fall into that category of always asking, and apparently yes, he would have done. But and I tell you what, I wouldn't have fancied Ian Wright's chances either. But that was a Leicester team that 96th minute, and we get a 3-3 draw. That's what we want, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always like, I know that's a bit before my time, but it's always a thing of like going to the end. That's the one thing that I would say that there's a lot to like about this current team, but a lot of the time, if we're losing in the 90th minute, you might as well turn off the TV because you're very rarely going to get a goal late on.
We're still passing it around the back, aren't we? But that was the thing with Martin O'Neill. He would not let you. He would, if it was 98 minutes, he'd expect you to play until the 98th minute. That game summed up the whole Martin O'Neill work ethic as Leicester City manager. Like with the League Cup when we got a draw against who was it now? Middlesbrough. With Emil Heskey scoring towards the end. But thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to ask you, can we win it?
We can, whether we will or not, it's a completely different question. So, yeah, I'm firmly sat on the fence as usual. You should know this by now, Chris.
Yeah. I know why I ever ask you for predictions. I don't know. Apparently, we've been installed as one of the pre-season favourites to win it. How they work that out, because we don't know who's coming down from the Champions League yet. It would be nice to get Villarreal and get our own back on them, wouldn't it, for the nasty tackle on Fofana.
It would, but it'd be even nicer if they finished rock bottom of the Champions League group and didn't even drop down.
I'll give you that. And on that point, thanks so much. Just give your channels a shout out again, Ant.
So check out Beyond the 90, like a group channel where Neil does a lot of the work on that, but it's brilliant. Just goes into detail about the transfer news, gets people like Rob Tanner. I think just go and have a look. There's loads of brilliant content over there. And then
too much to talk about.
Exactly. And then also my personal channel, Ant's Leicester fan channel. It's like just absolute random stuff around Leicester City. What's not to love?
I do love, because as somebody who lives on the south coast here, and because of financial situations in the country as it is at the moment, no longer have a season ticket. Seeing your reaction live at the stadium and seeing sort of either the pain or the celebration on your face is something I'm going to be looking forward to all season.
Me too, and I'm hoping it's not too much pain, and I'm almost glad. I very rarely say this, but I'm glad that I didn't go on Monday night to be in that much pain.
I did actually say, yeah, I was talking to somebody saying, like, I've got a guy who does my my match ratings and picks my man of the match, and I went, oh, he said, I'm so glad I didn't go and see that. He said, I was sat behind the goal, mate. I went, oh, sorry, that is bad. James says that it would be amazing if you guys were in the Europa League. And I'm going to be honest with you, Community Shield, League Cup, FA Cup, Premier League. We've got the English set. We've got to go and win something now in Europe, haven't we?
Yeah, hopefully. That I don't think we've got a good opportunity to really make a statement this time, because last time we went out on a whimper. This time, if we're going to go out, I want us to go out fully swinging like we did against Atletico in the Champions League.
Yeah, definitely. Mate, I'll let you go. Have a really, really, really good evening. Thanks for joining me as always. Good luck with your channels. Are you going to Norwich on tomorrow?
Yes, I will be.
Oh. Well, let's hope you can bring back 3 points, and maybe you're going to be our lucky mascot. When you go, we win.
Sounds all right. I'll go every week.
Thanks very much, mate. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for your knowledge. Take care now.
Right.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Thanks so much to Ant. Check his channels out. They're in the link below on YouTube. At Beyond the 90 is the one that he wants to push. So give that a big push. Go over there and subscribe, guys, please. And I know I'm sort of begging here, but so close to the 1,000. If you can give us a subscribe on YouTube, it would be absolutely fandabidozy, as somebody in my youth once said. And if you want to listen back to any of our shows, podcasts, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon, Google, Podcast Addict, and Anchor, to name but 6. We'll be back tomorrow about 5:45 post-match. Ant will be driving or training back. I'm not sure which, from Norwich tomorrow. Hopefully we're all going to be happy, and we're all going to be discussing 3 points for the Foxes. Thanks for joining us, guys. See you tomorrow night. Good night.
Hi, everybody. Jerry Taggart here. Now, be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on, you foxes!
Strap yourself in, because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Are you ready? I'm saying, are you ready?